Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. This is Hayden Newberry Fishing. Welcome to the channel if you're new to it. I'm a travel nurse. I'm currently down here in Florida, and I have something that I wanted to make a video about. When I saw it, I thought this would be like a perfect thing to talk to everybody about and just kind of give my opinion on it. So nobody get butt hurt. This is totally my opinion of this, and just listen if you want to hear it. I've got, I guess, what you would call quite a bit of experience fishing around at different fisheries and fishing tournaments in different part of the countries and living in different part of the country. And I'm just going to give my insight on this. So, being that I'm on the road, a lot of times I don't really know when this magazine exactly is from. I think it's fairly recent, in the last couple of months, but a lot of my mail I don't get instantly because I'm on the road, so it goes to my address in Illinois, and then the good stuff that I have to get gets sent to me, and then some of the stuff I get late and everything. But this is the Bassmaster Best 100 Lakes, and if you've never looked at it, some of it's good information. I'll give it that. Some of it's really good information. A lot of it is just big names that get kind of thrown on there that are just terrible. But I'm just going to kind of pick it apart and, say the good and the bad, I guess. My opinions on it. Thought it'd be fun to do. And what better than to just do it on video so you guys can hear about it. So I'm just going to start out here. Also, I'm going to kind of say where I'm at in it. They've got it kind of broken down into like divisions of the country and everything, like the top 10 from like the central division area of the country and everything. So if you hear me midway through the video refer to that, and I don't have to explain it every single time. Some of the lakes are going to be the best 10, and that's how they get like the area of what the best 100 are and stuff. But we're just going to kind of break down the ones that made the list, because we're talking about 100 lakes across the country. So there's a lot of lakes to choose from, and I'm always just I'm not surprised about a lot, but then you see some of them on there that you're like, I've been there, it's wrong. But anyway, we're going to start with the number one lake in the country, number one body of water, number one fishery, the St. Lawrence River. Now, I will say that I guess my opinion on this is that yes, the St. Lawrence River is awesome. Puts out some of the most amazing smallmouth weights, period. But the St. Lawrence River tournament's always won off Lake Ontario. So I'm not sure that it can, you know what I mean? It's an awesome fishery, and also, the best fisheries in the country don't necessarily put out the best weights. So there's that, but I do think it's a little bit ironic that every single time the St. Lawrence has a tournament, or not every single time, the majority of the time that the St. Lawrence has a tournament, it's one off Lake Ontario, but it's rated number one. So just gonna put that out there for the number one lake in the country, but not slighting at all, like not saying at all that St. Lawrence is bad, because St. Lawrence deserves to be at the top because it's an absolute just insane fishery. So we're just gonna go past that to now number two is O.H. Ivy, and it should be there. Like that's pretty legitimate. I will throw in there that probably not all these ratings are gonna be up to this exact perfect date. So that might be O.H. Ivy prior to people knowing that it was O.H. Ivy. So, prior to all the YouTubers going there and showing people that you could catch, 10 plus pound bass all the time. So now O.H. Ivy probably isn't number two in the country. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So it's top rated number two, but O.H. Ivy, I will take a wild guess, is not number two anymore after it got annihilated when it hit the map. So still, O.H. Ivy, awesome fishery, probably deserves to be in the top 10 after everything that's been discovered about it. We got the California Delta, obviously that's awesome. Forest, St. Clair, awesome, deserves to be there. 5. So we're talking of all the bodies of water in the country. This is kind of an OH situation, and I actually did a little just skim through of this, and I saw this one. I was like, I'm gonna have to talk about this one. So it's an OH situation. I'll say that. The Fellsmere Reservoir, Stick Marsh, and Kenansville Lake in Florida. I've actually fished there recently. And is there a time of the year there, like any other place, that it can be great? Sure. Problem is that it's been on the map for years now. And it ain't like, if you're used to a good fishery being one that you can just go out and catch them and catch at least good ones and stuff, that ain't it. I mean, maybe you can go out there with live bait or something and do it, but I went there at a time when it shouldn't be terribly hard to catch them, and I will say it wasn't easy. You had to work for them. It was fun, but if I didn't know the name of that lake, if I just went out there and fished for a day, I will say that I probably would have left there and been like, all right, kinda good, but not anything impressive. That was my opinion on it. Went there multiple days, actually. I think I went there 2 days. Still caught some good ones, but there are other places that at that same time and everything, it was easier to catch them and easier to catch good ones. Places in the same area. So, I off the top of my head, I can easily rattle off 5 from that area, 5 lakes from that area that I'd probably rather go out on. And it's mostly from pressure. Stupid amounts of pressure. When people know a lake like that, a lake that's not that big and is easy to navigate, is there, it gets so much pressure that it just gets hammered and it's not as great. There are times of the year when it's going to be awesome. There are. Like early spring, when they're on beds, stuff like that, it will be awesome and it'll shine. But I will say that like it being just a great fishery, I'm not quite sure that that's the best representation of the number 5 lake in the country. So, Cooley Lake, California, it's another one that I haven't ever been there, but you can look at weights and tournaments and things and know that it's declined in recent years. Lake Fork in Texas, that one's a good one. It's a good one. Another one that you have to hit at the right time, though. Like any other lake, you can hit it at the wrong time. You can hit it on one of those really pressured weekends, and it can get really tough out there. There are times of the year when any of these lakes are going to get tough. Lake Erie, a lot of these northern fisheries are just like, it's kind of hard not to, like, catchability wise, northern fisheries a lot of the time like will just knock out any southern fishery when it comes to like ability to go out there and catch good fish. That's like talking about any of the lakes in Minnesota. Any of the lakes in Minnesota during the summertime, go up there. It's the easiest lakes to catch 50 bass on in your entire life. It's crazy. So that's what I mean by it's kind of tough. When I look at stuff like this, I'm just like that. I've been there. It's not a knockout lake, but these are they're naming big fisheries, but it's hard to say, I guess, that they're naming big fisheries when they have a place like Stick Marsh there, because it's a big fishery. But if you're counting that into the into the lakes and stuff like that can possibly be included in this, there are a lot out there. But obviously they can't just like cover every single lake in the country. But some of these aren't awesome. Number 9, Sam Rayburn. I was just there. It's a pretty good fishery. Santee Cooper. Yeah, awesome. Let's get. Now we're going to be in the Centrals. And so I'm going to kind of speed up a little bit and I'm mostly just going to hit on the ones that I don't think belong here, because I'll name them as I go, and then I'll stop on the ones that you should never go to. Okay, so top 10 from Central OH Ivy, Lake Fork, Sam Rayburn, Caney Creek Reservoir, Toledo Bend, Eufaula, Lake the Ozarks, Mille Lacs, shouldn't be on 9. Should be a little bit higher up there. Sturgeon Bay, Oak Creek Reservoir, Choke Canyon, Table Rock, Possum Kingdom. Well, not saying the wrong. I will say, I don't know why Grand's not in there. That's my one that just rattling through those real quick. I don't know why Grand isn't in there. All right. Oh, sorry. It's 17th. Would have rated it way higher than that. Anyway, let's go one above that. This is these are my nitpicks right here. And I'm gonna get to another one. I might not even make it through all these tonight because I can talk for hours about this. So, keep in mind if you're ever into Grand Lake, awesome fishery. Above Grand Lake is Lake Conroe. Lake Conroe sucks. I'm sorry if you like Lake Conroe, but it sucks. I don't like it. When it's hard to go out and catch a limit of bass for fun on a Tuesday, it's a hard lake. Are there big fish in there? Yeah, there's big fish in a lot of the lakes in Texas. Lake Conroe sucks. Look at the weights from the Bassmaster Classic that happened there. Like, you didn't need a limit hardly to do well on Lake Conroe. You didn't need a limit to do well on Lake Conroe. I don't even know if Jordan Lee had a limit every day when he won there. The Classic. That's a small field. A small tournament field in terms of, professional tournaments. So, and it hasn't got better. I will say I haven't been there in like a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, but I doubt it came back. It's a mud hole. There's no grass. It's got carp everywhere in it. Sure, you can go back in the canals and catch like good ones every now and then, but it sucks. All right. I'm going to leave Lake Conroe alone, but should not be even on this list. Bull Shoals Lake is below Grand and Lake Conroe. It is all the way down at 18th. Out of your minds if you put Bull Shoals 18th on this list. It should literally be 1, 2, or 3, I think, personally. It's one of the most underrated lakes in the country. If you know anybody that's been to Bull Shoals before, you've heard that it's the most underrated lake in the country. Bull Shoals there's a reason why I took a job there and lived there last fall in the winter. It's amazing. If you ever get the chance to go to Bull Shoals Lake and have fun, go there and have fun. Bull Shoals is awesome. Go down Falcon, Upper Mississippi River. Good, but whatever. Lake Darbon. I think MLF went there and they hated it. I'm just going to throw that out there. Never been there, but it's currently 24th in the Centrals. It might be wrong on that. Comment on there if anybody remembers that, but I'm pretty sure MLF went to Lake Darbon or whatever. That might have been where what's his name got caught cheating, somewhere around there maybe. But I'm pretty positive they didn't do well there. Ironic that it's literally 24th and for that area of the country. Let's go to Western Division. I don't know a lot about Western Lakes, but we're gonna kind of rattle through them right here. Sacramento, California Delta, Clear Lake. Again, I don't know a lot about Western Lakes, but I'm not sure Clear Lake should be number 2 on that list with its current state. Yeah, I'm gonna. Most of the people that probably watch my channel aren't Western. Or if you are from the western part and have fished a lot of these lakes, let me know in the comments. Comment like the actual best ones that you guys know, because I can't tell you for sure if a lot of these are actually worthy of being on here. Okay, I'm just gonna tell people that Lake Mead is number 16. I'm pretty sure everybody talks about Lake Mead being super tough. So, do you think there's more than 15 lakes that are better than Lake Mead on the West Coast? I'm going to take a gamble that there are. All right, done with the West Coast. I don't care about it. I do, but I don't know enough about it to really talk to you guys for a while about it. So, now we're going to go to the Northeast Division. Give you a visual right there. I don't know if you guys are even enjoying this, but I kind of am because I like picking apart lakes and stuff like this and talking about it. But Lake Champlain, number 4. Sorry, St. Lawrence is obviously number 1. We already talked about that. St. Clair, number 2. Worthy. Lake Erie, Upper Niagara River, Worthy. Lake Champlain is number 4. Yeah, I mean, like I said about the northern fisheries, I'm going to kind of rattle through these. Lake Erie, Grand Traverse Bay in Michigan, Bays Denock in Michigan. Haven't ever heard of that. A lot of these, probably a lot of people haven't heard of. Cayuga Lake put out the record smallmouth twice this year. Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia. Actually, I'm looking at taking my next job really close to there. Hint, hint, possibly. Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire is 14. So yeah. Let's see if I got any. Oneida is on there. Upper Chesapeake. Here a lot. They throw a lot of the big names in here, even if they're terrible. Okay, wait. Eastern Division. Okay, so I found something to talk about. All right, we're gonna stop right here because we are talking about. Sorry about that, guys. We are talking about some like knockout lakes. I mean, just to give you a visual again, this is the part of the country we're talking about. This is Kentucky, over up into Virginia. Like, some of the literal best lakes in the country are in this part of in this area. We're gonna scroll down here to number 24 on the list. We're talking about a place that has like a stupid amount of lakes in it. Most of them are amazing. Number 24 is Kentucky Lake. Kentucky Lake sucks. That I'm legitimately bothered that they put. And again, this is what I'm talking about, that I feel like a lot of things make this based on their name and just that people know of them. I don't know if maybe local governments or whatever might pay to have lakes put on this list. I would not doubt that there is some type of value to like pay to get on this list. That's a thing if you didn't know that magazines do when they have lists like this. But Kentucky Lake is number 24 for the northeastern division of the United States, and that is a joke because Kentucky Lake used to be great. It's not. It's getting better. It's starting to get better again. I'll give it that. From what I've heard, I don't want to go back till it's better personally, unless I really have to for a tournament. Because when I was there and fished it a lot, it went down the just toilet in a hurry. Kentucky Lake was tough for a couple of years, and I think that it's a little bit tougher than 24. Let's go to the next one. This is going to be a long video, but just watch what you want to watch of it. Come back to it if you want to, because I'm kind of enjoying going through these. Actually, I say that we've got one more division to go through, and this one's going to be a fun one too because I'm currently living in this division. Southeastern Division. We already talked about a few of these. I don't agree with the first one, which is Fellsmere Reservoir, Stick Marsh, Kansville. It's the man-made lake in Florida if you haven't heard of it. Awesome lake. I can't give it number 1. I'll say that. You've heard about me talk about it earlier. I don't know how it made it to number 1 on the list, other than that it's kind of the name thing, and that after the pressure, I don't think it's as good. Santee Cooper, number 2. That's deservedly there. Lake Istapoga in Florida. I actually lived right by there this past winter. Harris Chain, Dale Hollow, Rodman, Lake Gunnersville. All those are good. Lake Gunnersville, I feel like, is teetering on the point of not being as good. But Jordan Reservoir, if anybody remembers, MLF went back there for one of their tournaments, and I actually want to revisit that lake. actually not revisit, visit for the first time, but go back there because it's been a few years since. I'm sure it got a pretty good pounding after MLF went there and absolutely annihilated them in the springtime. So Jordan, or it'll go there. It'll be a kind of, those are risky because it's possible that you'll waste a trip going there because a lot of these places that aren't that big, Jordan is only a 14,000 acre lake. When you put someplace like that on the map, kind of like the Fellsmere Reservoir and stuff like that, they can get tough if you beat them up too bad. Lake Toho, an amazing lake, but it's like any of these. They can be the best lake in the world, but they will have their like terrible days. And when we had our tournament down on Toho on the Kissimmee chain, I'll tell you, spoiler alert, most of the top 10 did not fish Toho the majority of the time. Just in case you guys were wondering, including I caught one fish off of Toho during the tournament, and a lot of the guys that made up some of the top people didn't fish there. Right where I'm at right now, Lake Seminole, number 12, deserves to be up there. Lake Seminole, I will say from my experience these past months in summer and kind of late springs when I first came here, early summer, Seminole is one of those that I feel like is almost underrated. Like you don't just like hear people just in the bass fishing, I guess, community, you hear Seminole get talked about a lot, but it's a sleeper. I feel like if you can call it that, with how well it is known that it is that good. But it's not like when you hear like stick marsh and stuff like that. I would, in the springtime, a lot of the time I would like I'd take Seminole hands down because it's just so many good fish in here, so many good fish. Lake Lanier, High Rock, we're going to Wheeler, Pickwick, Ross Barnett at 17. I will say, I've told multiple people after we went to Ross Barnett this year, I was so impressed with how well Ross Barnett held up to the tournament pressure, because it's not a big lake. It is 33,000 acres, which it does not feel that big. A lot of it is complete dead water, but I was insanely impressed with how well it held up. I've told people before that I would go back to Ross Barnett actually for fun, because it fished like amazing for having the amount of boats that it had on it. The only problem is that you will lose your lower unit pretty easily out there. Lake Hartwell in South Carolina, I sucked there recently, but it should be there. It's awesome. Roanoke Rapids, Bay Springs Lake, Lake Eufaula is 24th. I'm not sure why it is behind a lot of these, but this is also a division that's like, I mean, you need to have like some insanely good lakes in your top 25 from here, because it contains, I mean, this part of the country right here contains some of the literal like best bass lakes in the country. So but I will say that, you know, Chickamauga's in here. Chickamauga's really good. It's another one that's pressured. But yeah, there's your, I guess that was 100 of them, but I agree with a lot. There are some of these that should never have made it in here, and some of them that, like I said, there's like the Bull Shoals thing being kind of back there, and the whole thing is questionable, because Bull Shoals is literally catchability wise for good fish. You can catch good smallmouth, good spots, good bass there. You can go off and catch walleye in Bull Shoals. It's an amazing bass lake. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you didn't get too bored listening to me rant about some of these lakes and everything. I'm going to get to doing some more video editing and everything, and posting more videos. And if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, guys.